In today's video, using the simplest of tools, I'm going to teach you how to make a bow drill fire.
Hey guys, I'm Nate.
And I'm Callie, and it is really cold out here. So I'm going to teach you guys how to build a fire with nothing but this.
That is, we're gonna use a knife to make some other tools to make a fire. Today we are learning how to make and use a bow drill, the classic holding a stick and passing a bow over it to create enough friction that it actually starts a fire.
Now, you guys in the past have seen Nate and Grant teach you multiple ways of making different types of fires. The reason that a bow drill fire is so cool is that it's been around about as long as people have, and you can use the simplest of tools to make it. So here's the basic idea. Using a knife, paracord, and nature, we're going to teach you how to make the tools to build a fire.
It looks like we've got quite a few materials out here, but you're saying we basically just start with a knife and everything is from that.
Pretty much, yeah. If you're in a survival situation, you don't even really need the paracord. In a pinch, you could use a shoelace for maybe 1 or 2 bow drill fires. But to make things simple, we're gonna have some paracord. First off, I wanted to show you why paracord is so essential to have, especially if you're out hiking in the wilderness and you might need it for a survival situation. This is a piece of paracord that has been used several times, but it's already worn through. So I've already cut a new piece of paracord to use with this bow. This is a willow bow. Now with your bow, you just need a piece of wood that's pretty decently curved, but is really, really strong. Now willow and juniper are known for having a nice gentle curve and being really, really strong. Now what you don't want is a piece of wood that's too thin for your bow or something that's gonna be green or sap-like or resinous. The problem with that is as soon as you start trying to drill with that, it's not gonna last.
It's not that willow and juniper are the only types of wood that will work for this. They just happen to be two that make really nice shapes and strengths for making bows.
They're also native to the area that we're in, so as long as you have a non-resinous, soft, very, very dry wood, you should be good to go. There's always gonna be some trial and error, but I bet you can start your own fire. This is a piece of sage root, and that's called a fireboard. That's gonna start an ember, and that ember is gonna be what starts the fire.
So this is just a piece of board that's been flattened pretty well on both sides, and while I think power tools may have been used to make this particular one, you definitely don't need to. You can get this shape with a knife if you're patient, or honestly even just a sharp rock.
Now this is a sage spindle. Now this is a sage branch, and again you can use other things. Other excellent fireboards that you can use is going to be dry cottonwood as well as yucca. But I didn't have any yucca available, so we are using sage root and a sage branch.
This right here is a palm rock. Obviously it's a rock, and it's chosen because it fits nicely into your palm. That's going to be pretty key because you're needed to hold on to it really well while applying a lot of pressure from the top. You can probably see there's a little divot in this rock right here, and this you make by just finding another rock and you start drilling into it, and that's going to take you some time. Keep twisting it until you have a divot that's just the right size to fit with the piece of your stick.
As you can see, I've already assembled the supplies, but this is probably my favorite thing that I carry with me when I go backpacking. This knife has a nice fine edge along with a saw blade. So as long as I had this knife and some bootlaces, I could probably start a bow drill fire in most areas in this region. So you can already see that I've cut the notches in this bow. So we've got one on this side, one on the other, and that just keeps the paracord from slipping out of place. The most important thing to remember about a friction fire is that resinous wood is not going to work. Neither is any sort of wet wood. This needs to be as dry can get, and it's all trial and error. You're usually not going to get a fire on your first, second, or even third try, but you will get there. All right, so for the very last thing that you're going to need, this is juniper bark. Now, juniper is very common in the deserts around this region. Now, this is incredibly dry. You can see how it's just flaking off as I hold it.
There's literally like
dust.
Bark dust falling off of this stuff right now.
That is exactly what you want. Now I formed as best I can a nest. It's very, very loose because we need airflow to get through. But we're gonna need even finer bark dust inside it. That's what's gonna catch the ember and really get it to spark. So Nate, let me show you how to do this. So as you can see, very, very loose here. And I've got quite a bit more. So what you're gonna wanna do, almost as if you were trying to form a rope, and then you're gonna twist it around, see if you can form that into a nest. It's gonna just fall apart in your hands. Now, something you might wanna note is juniper bark, as useful as it is, just so many splinters. So just a very loose nest, air can get through it.
To make it kind of nest shaped, I just wrapped it around in a circle, and now I'm kind of folding it in on itself.
So here's a couple of differences that I was saying. This piece of sage root was cut using power tools. This one was split a little bit more naturally. We'd taken a knife to it, we'd cut a notch, and then we'd taken a stone and split it in half. And as you can see, we've had lots of successful fires with it. So your easiest knots, honestly, on one side, and normally the straighter side, you're gonna go ahead and put just a regular old square knot. So on the straighter side of your bow, if you happen to have one, just tie a knot. It doesn't really matter. What's gonna matter is the other side. If you happen to have a bow like mine, where one side curves a little bit more, that's gonna be the side that you want a clove hitch knot. The reason that that's so important is that way we can actually adjust the tension as we go so that we can make sure that we don't drop our spindle. All right, so it's a little bit loose with the clove hitch. I can tighten it as I go.
Now we go hunting with it, right?
First thing that we're gonna do, while we do have a usable section here for the fireboard, Nate is really excited to use my knife, so we're gonna let him go ahead and cut a new notch into the board itself. Now, what you wanna remember is that you're gonna actually have your foot placed on one side of this to hold it in place. So you're gonna wanna try and keep it as close to this other hole here as possible.
Near the edge.
A few different ways that you can do this. There's a pizza cut, there's a regular notch, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut a fine line from here all the way through to the other side in the bottom. You can choose a rectangle, you can choose a pizza cut. At this point, it's really just preference.
But the important thing is that the notch that we cut will actually go all the way down into the middle of this divot. When we're using our bow drill, the ember will form in this divot right here, and we need the notch so it can actually fall out onto whatever surface is below it.
Not just fall out, you need that for airflow. The ember will not form without that. So now what you're gonna wanna do, you're gonna drill a very small divot. So the friction of the spindle is actually going to make the hole much, much larger.
But we start with it pretty little.
The reason why, you just don't want this to slip out of place. Now everyone has preferences. You can see that this spindle is a little bit rounder. It's been used a little bit more than this one. Now, if you have more of a round edge here where it goes into the fireboard, you're gonna get more friction, more chance of a fire, but this is gonna start smoking a lot faster. So now we've got our fireboard ready, we've got our spindle, our bow's set up. Now the last thing that we're gonna need with all of this is we need something to catch our ember. Now, if you're out in the wilderness and you don't happen to have just a piece of leather, you can actually use just a leaf or another board. What you're gonna do is you'll place this underneath your fireboard. It'll catch the ember so that once the ember is formed, you can drop it into your juniper nest.
I'm taking a little bit of this juniper bark and I'm just shredding it and pinching it and turning it into just the tiniest, smallest dust fibers that we can. And that's what we're gonna try and get the ember to really ignite first.
All right, so Nate's got our nest. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything prepped here. So I've got my piece to catch the ember, I've got my fireboard, I have my spindle and my palm rock. Now I've taken off my gloves because as nice as they are, it's really not gonna help when I'm trying to hold this bow. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna have your dominant hand with your knee on the ground. Your other foot's gonna hold your fireboard. You're gonna take your bow, you're gonna take your spindle. Now this will take a few tries sometimes. I'm probably gonna fling this across the yard, but what you're gonna do is you can see I've got this kind of loose here and I can tighten it as need be with my clove hitch knot. I'm gonna take my spindle and I'm going to twist it into my paracord. Watch out, Nate. Perfect, okay. So this is a really, really good tension because it's tight, it's still mobile though. So what we'll do now, I'll hold this. I'm gonna take my left arm because I'm right-handed and brace it against my left leg. Get that spindle into that little notch that Nate's made. Take my palm rock, goes onto the edge of the spindle. And now, believe it or not, this has all been the easy part. This is the part that takes a little bit of practice. You're gonna pull it. You're gonna pull it back and forth, pretty darn slow, until you see smoke. Once you see smoke, you wanna keep a really even pace. Now this pace needs to last for about 30 strokes, so you can kind of count the ABCs in your head. It's about the amount of time it's gonna take. And as you do that, the downward pressure of your palm rock is very important. So all that took was really about 15 seconds. You can already see that I've got some friction, and we've already darkened the wood. We've already have a little bit of smoke. So we're gonna keep going. If at any point you're feeling like your bowstring just isn't staying tight enough, it's pretty darn easy to take your leftover paracord here, wrap it around that clove hitch knot, and this is why you want to use the more curved edge where your hand is, because you can actually tighten the string as you go.
At this point, you can see that Callie has smoke coming off of the spindle. What you're really looking for in an ember is when you stop using the bow and the spindle, you should see a thin stream of smoke coming up. If you have a successful ember, it will continue smoking after you stop using the bow.
Still smoking, still smoking. Okay,
There's a chance.
I may have an ember. Let's see.
Is it still smoking?
Little. Nope, that one died. All right, that's okay. Getting it on your first try doesn't normally happen, but you could see the smoke rising off of it, and you can see this had been a sharpened point before. We've worked that way, very out of breath. We've worked that down to almost a flat edge now. So that's what it looks like after just a few passes. All right, Nate, I'm tired. Wanna give it a shot? Nice. All right, use this one, it's looser. There you go. Okay, now hold it up. Don't breathe on it, just hold it up. There you go. See that? This is what we want. He's got one. Okay, now stand up and just sort of pass it through the air back and forth. Gently, and don't do this over anything flammable. He's got a flame, guys. He did it. Woo!
I made fire!
He's advanced to the level of caveman.
Yes!
Now, obviously, we weren't looking to create a bonfire here today, but if you'd had a pile of kindling ready to go, some nice dry wood and tinder, this would have caught. You would have been good to go. So it's been a couple of days since Nate and I showed you how to make a bow drill fire. Now Grant wants to try.
What can I say? I like fire.
Still smoking, still smoking.
Yeah, maybe.
Still smoking, still smoking.
Okay, cool.
You've got one.
Didn't say I was the best, but I do like making the fire. All right, very carefully here. It is just a little baby fire waiting to happen. You gotta cradle it, be gentle with it. That's a good sign. Boom.
Woo!
Ah, there we go. We can finally warm up. Burn these goosebumps away. Thank you, Callie. It works.
So just some thoughts after having done that. The ember that I got to actually start and catch onto that, it was little. There was quite a bit of burned wood material. You probably saw that. It looked like it was about the area of a dime and stacked up maybe 1/4 of an inch tall. So like there was a lot of stuff that looked like it might have worked, but the actual ember, the one that was still burning, that was about just this tiny little glowing orange spot. And that's what we got to catch and grow into all of the bark and the shredded dust that we made out of it.
And what you want to remember there is there's one point where Nate even thought it wasn't there anymore. The red glow doesn't stay. You've got to remember that it's still surviving. So long as you can see smoke, chances are you still probably have a viable ember. You still just need to transfer it over and let it sit for a second, and it should be okay.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Guys, that's all we have for you today, but the fun doesn't end here. If you click that box to the top, that will take you to our latest video. The box to the bottom will take you to what YouTube thinks you should be watching next, and this bomb in the middle will let you subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.